your station for balanced news.
Well, as many as 10 million females and 1 million males are fighting a life and death battle with an eating disorder, and sometimes it's really hard to tell who is affected. So it is time to raise awareness this morning. And Hallie Catrola struggled for 10 years with an eating disorder and now helps hundreds of others with her own organization. And Dr. Louis Malats is a medical director of non-denominational, an eating disorder clinic that has a different way. We'll talk about both of these things. And thank you both so much for coming in and talking about this.
Thank you.
It's not one of these things that we talk about often, but it's very important, and especially for parents, to look for certain signs in their kids. It affects more people than you think.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, so this is National Eating Disorder Week. So what's the goal of this? What do you want to get out there?
I think it's time to actually get something out there that's a little bit difficult for people to admit and talk about, and so to recognize that there's a large problem affecting young females all over the world, and in the U.S. as well, and San Diego as well. So that's, I think, a good opportunity to focus on something very important.
Now, Hallie, you lead a ministry at the Rock1s that focuses on eating disorders and helping hundreds of people. Tell us your story and how you started this.
So I was a pastor's kid, so I was taught to stuff your emotions. You don't talk about it, you pray about it if you're struggling. And then I was a track athlete up until college. And so no one taught me, and I didn't watch a PBS special. I just one day, sorry to be a little vulgar, stuck my finger down my throat, and all my emotions came up that I'd been holding onto for so many years that I wanted to tell someone. And through that, it went on for 10 years, and I went from bulimia to overexercising to anorexia to laxative abuse to binging. So I actually struggled from all the different spectrums of an eating disorder.
So there are so many different kinds out there that we will get into, but who does this affect most when you see this? I mean, now you're giving back and you really obviously know the signs because of it, both of you. But it's not just young women. So who is out there that is affected by this that people should be aware of?
Well, about 10% of eating disorders is in males and 90% is female. And you normally see it in the very young, the very conscious about appearance type of individual. And so when, especially in the adolescent and puberty time of life, that's when you see a big interest in trying to control weight and do things with the weight in some ways that are extreme. And that's when you get into this problem.
Is it sort of this feeling of control? You were saying that you were able to have some control over your emotions?
Absolutely. For me, it was completely a way to control, because I felt like I couldn't control the environment, the outside stuff, but I could control what was going on and how I was going to feel about all of it.
So can you break it down? What should parents maybe look for? There are different types out there of the ways that people can abuse this and different things. You were talking about different types of eating disorders.
For myself, with anorexia, you look for women who actually wear a lot of clothing because they don't want people to see that they're actually losing weight quickly.
Now, here's a picture, too. This is you that you sent in to us, and you just look fabulous. And so oftentimes it's important to point out that you can't tell necessarily that somebody has an eating disorder.
Right, and actually I was apprehensive about even sending that because I didn't want girls to think, well, I
want to look like that.
Right, I want to look like that, or she's not that bad, or I actually can lose more weight than she can. And so I was really hesitant because it comes in all shapes and sizes. When I was at my worst, I'm 5'7", I was actually 130 pounds, and I was binging and purging 4 to 6 times a day. So, that, everyone thought I was normal. I mean, no one had any idea.
What is the bad part of this? Because I have nieces that are now teenagers, and it's when they were in the tween years they started talking about, I'm too fat, right. I don't look like the girls in the magazines, but there is a real downside for somebody who's even contemplating doing this. It takes a toll on your body, doesn't it? Can you tell us about that?
Exactly. There are short-term effects and there are long-term effects. I think the most important long-term effect is that low weight produces a high risk for osteoporosis, which is very difficult to reverse once that sets in. The short-term risk has to do with gastrointestinal problems and things that are affected by purging or restriction of calories. And things like the electrolytes can be off when the purging occurs too frequently, and potassium and things like that need to be replaced, or else you can get some cardiac dysfunction, which is very serious.
Now, if parents out there, we're running out of time, but parents out there can go to your clinic, they can ask questions. You're at the Rock1s with your ministry and help hundreds of people, really, and you also have a nonprofit.
Correct.
Yeah, so we'll have the information linked to our website. Thank you both so much for coming in.
Thank you.
It's the non-denominational Eating Disorder Clinic here.
Yes. Yes.
And then also, what you
can go to iamhopeandhealing.org.
Okay, thank
you.
All right,
Appreciate
we're raising awareness this morning.
Thank
so go to San Diego6.com and click on Hot Topics for more information.